On December 31st, 2025, the Pentagon signed a contract worth $2.73 billion. Not for a new fighter jet, not for another destroyer, for something the Army already has, the AH-64 Apache. But here's what makes this different. While Congress debates billion-dollar programs and analysts argue about drone swarms replacing manned aircraft, the Army just placed a major multi-year sustainment bet on the Apache, with an estimated completion date of December 31st, 2030. And for a platform whose first prototype flight dates back to 1975, that kind of commitment is never just about keeping the lights on, because this isn't simply keep old helicopters flying. This is about evolving the Apache into something it was never originally designed to be. A networked command node that can help the force survive and win in a battle space saturated with drones, by detecting them, cueing the fight, and destroying them, while also expanding manned-unmanned teaming. Boeing calls it Apache Post-Production Support Services. The real story is what's wrapped inside the Apache's modernization arc, version 6 and version 6.5, an open systems interface, and the push to integrate future capabilities like launched effects. The kind of upgrades meant to keep the Apache lethal and adaptable for decades. And here's the twist. This contract hit at the same moment the Army signaled a major reshaping of its aviation force. Something changed, and what happened next reveals why the Army believes the Apache's most important missions may still be ahead. Here's the puzzle. On May 1st, 2025, the Army's senior leadership signed a transformation directive, part of what became widely known as the Army Transformation Initiative, that set conditions for major changes across aviation formations, including divesting older aircraft and reshaping units for future conflict. Reporting that followed described a blunt aviation signal. The Army intended to divest its remaining AH-64D Apache fleet and significantly reduce the active component Apache inventory, while shifting capacity and roles across components. In some accounts, the active component AH-64E fleet was described as dropping from roughly 408 aircraft to about 240, a cut of around 40%. Critics read it as surrender to the drone age. Aviation experts questioned whether attack helicopters were becoming too vulnerable. Budget watchers assumed the Apache was being quietly set up for a long fade. Then two contracts dropped, hard. First, on November 25th, 2025, the Pentagon awarded Boeing a $4.68 billion contract for new-build AH-64E Apaches, longbow crew trainers, and associated spares and components, a deal funded through foreign military sales, including Poland, Egypt, and Kuwait, with an estimated completion date of May 30th, 2032. Then, just over a month later, came the $2.72 billion Apache Post-Production Support Award, pushing the combined total of these two Apache-related awards above $7.4 billion across roughly 5 weeks. That doesn't look like a platform being put out to pasture. But the real mystery wasn't just the money. It was the modernization language repeatedly tied to the Apache's future, version 6.5, launched effects, and the open systems interface. A lot of people saw those as boilerplate. They're not, because the open systems interface is explicitly described as a pathway for modernization, enabling future integrations like counter-UAS solutions and long-range precision munitions without rebuilding the aircraft from scratch. So why restructure the fleet, then pour billions into keeping Apaches relevant? The answer lives in what the Pentagon learned from Ukraine and what it fears in the Pacific. The Apache has been the backbone of American attack aviation since the 1980s, built for high-intensity conflict, fielded for deterrence, and proven across decades of real combat operations. But here's what most people miss. The Apache was designed for one nightmare scenario. When the AH-64 was conceived in the Cold War, the mission was clear: stop massed armor, survive heavy air defenses, and fight as part of a larger combined arms system. Terrain masking, pop-up fires, rapid displacement. That war never came. Instead, the Apache fought in conflicts where it had air superiority, or at least manageable risk, against insurgents and irregular forces. The helicopter adapted. Upgrades came in waves. Sensors improved. Weapons diversified. Connectivity grew. And then the modern battlefield shifted again. Ukraine showed the world something brutal and undeniable. Today's fight is drone-dense, sensor-rich, and punishingly fast. The threat spectrum ranges from cheap quadcopters to loitering munitions and layered air defenses, meaning aircraft survivability is increasingly tied to standoff, awareness, networking, and kill chain speed. Some analysts declared the attack helicopter era over. The Army's emerging logic was different. The problem isn't that helicopters have no place in a drone-saturated battlespace. The problem is that helicopters can't fight the same way. If the Apache is going to remain decisive, it must do two things at once: defeat drones affordably at the tactical edge and integrate into a broader network that can absorb new sensors, new weapons, and future unmanned teammates without redesigning the aircraft every time. That is where version 6 modernization, version 6.5, the open systems interface, and launched effects concepts converge. And that's why a $2.73 billion sustainment award in late 2025 matters. Because it's not just sustainment, it's transformation under a sustainment label. Version 6.5 has been framed publicly as an evolution: software upgrades, pilot interface improvements, better navigation, and connectivity. Those improvements are real, but what matters is why they're being built: to make the Apache more upgradable, more interoperable, and better prepared for the drone-era fight. Boeing describes version 6.5 as offering improved lethality, survivability, connectivity, and navigation, and, crucially, introducing the Open Systems Interface, OSI. OSI is the quiet revolution, because OSI is explicitly positioned as a modernization pathway, supporting future integrations like counter-UAS solutions and long-range precision munitions without requiring a ground-up redesign of the helicopter. And then, in late 2025, the Apache's counter-drone credibility stopped being theoretical. In a live demonstration called Operation Fly Swatter at Marine Corps Air Station New River, Army aviators, supported by a joint mix of partners, validated how an AH-64E can detect and engage unmanned threats using its current systems and weapons. Reporting from the event highlighted a near-perfect engagement outcome: 13 kills out of 14 engagements. And the way those kills were achieved matters, because the Apache wasn't limited to expensive missile or nothing. It employed a range of munitions, including JAGM, Hellfire, APKWS, and its 30mm cannon, demonstrating that counter-UAS doesn't have to be a one-shot, one-fortune problem. That last piece, the gun, matters more than people think. Missiles are decisive, but they are finite. Gun solutions and lower-cost guided rockets can preserve magazines and give the crew options when drones appear suddenly, close, and in numbers. Now layer OSI on top of that, because an Apache that can integrate new counter-UAS capabilities faster and absorb new sensors and weapons on an open architecture timeline changes how quickly the Army can adapt to what adversaries are learning right now. And then there's launched effects. Boeing has been explicit that launched effects integration is being actively pursued and demonstrated in controlled environments, including work in an avionics integration lab, with continued demonstrations planned into 2026, including the goal of demonstrating on an actual aircraft. That matters because launched effects, small unmanned systems deployed forward for sensing, decoying, jamming, or strike, are exactly the kind of capability that fits the new fight. Push sensors forward without exposing the manned aircraft, multiply reconnaissance angles, complicate enemy air defenses, extend reach while keeping the crew inside a protected mobile command node. So picture the updated Apache problem set in the drone era. An AH-64E operating smart, terrain masking, networked, and integrated, can contribute to the kill chain without charging into it. It can cue other systems, it can defend itself against drones, and as launched effects mature, it can increasingly manage unmanned assets that expand what the formation can see and do, without turning every mission into a high-risk manned exposure. That's not science fiction. It's a modernization pathway the Army is visibly investing in, through real contracts, real architecture decisions, and real demonstrations. The strategic implications reshape how America should think about attack aviation. First, force design and readiness. The Army's 2025 transformation guidance signaled that aviation formations would be reshaped for future war, divesting older platforms and rebalancing capabilities across units and components. Second, adaptation speed. The OSI pathway is about tempo. Modern war punishes slow integration cycles. An Apache that can integrate counter-UAS tools and long-range precision munitions through an open interface is an Apache that can keep pace with adversaries who iterate quickly. Third, drone-era survivability isn't just armor, it's options. Operation Fly Swatter's results, and the attention it drew, underscore that the Apache can engage drones with multiple weapons, including missiles, guided rockets, and cannon solutions, rather than relying on a single expensive intercept method. Fourth, alliances and industrial depth. The $4.685 billion award for new-build AH-64Es and Longbow crew trainers, funded through foreign military sales, signals that key partners are still investing in the Apache ecosystem at scale, sustaining production and modernization momentum into the 2030s. And finally, the Pacific logic. In a theater defined by distance, sensors, drones, and rapidly shifting threats, a platform that can reposition, integrate quickly, and contribute to drone defense and unmanned teaming becomes more, not less, relevant. The Apache's modernization path is aimed squarely at that reality. The Apache isn't competing with drones, it's evolving to help the force fight with them and survive against them. Boeing and the Army aren't treating version 6.5 as an endpoint, they're treating it as a bridge. Boeing describes version 6.5 as the latest evolution, built to improve lethality and survivability now, while creating a pathway for the next wave of integrations through OSI. That's the real significance of this moment. The US Army is investing in the Apache not as a relic, but as a platform with growth margin, a system designed to keep absorbing new capabilities in a world where the threat changes every year. Launched effects. Work continues, with Boeing describing ongoing demonstrations into 2026, including the goal of moving from lab demonstrations to an actual aircraft demo. Meanwhile, the Apache is already proving it can adapt to the drone fight in the present, validated publicly through Operation Flyswatter's results and the attention those results generated across the defense community. So, remember that opening hook. The contract everyone could dismiss as sustainment wasn't just a sustainment deal. A $2.73 billion post-production support award running to the end of 2030 is the logistical foundation beneath a modernization strategy, one that's pairing open architecture with real-world drone defense demonstrations and building toward deeper manned-unmanned integration. The drone era didn't kill the Apache, it forced the Apache to evolve, and the Army's late 2025 contract decisions suggest they fully intend for it to remain one of the most adaptable and dangerous tools in American attack aviation. Hit subscribe to follow the transformation of America's attack helicopter fleet. What autonomous systems should the Apache integrate next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.